All right, welcome back to Terrible Left Fishing. So, we're going to do a funny intro and we'll go into what I would love to talk to you guys about a video I've seen several times, and let's see what's in my head. All right, well, I posted this video hoping that she would give me permission, and I took it off because she's thinking about it. But there's another channel that posted an interview with somebody and gave some really good insights what's been going on with the Klamath River Project. Now, what's interesting about this, and I'll put the link down below, so you want to see her video, you may. It's about 27 minutes long. And what the gist of it is this, that the river, when the dams were put in there, created a settling area for sediment. The settlement is made up of many things, and including metals like lead and other stuff. And there was a report by the government that was coming out January 30th about the the composition of the sediments. And we're talking millions of tons of or thousands of tons of sediment just in one reservoir, let alone multiple reservoirs. Initially, the drawdown, which is opening the dam and lowering the reservoirs down to river levels, was supposed to take 2 months for each one of these. Well, in January 30th, this report was going to come out. And so they rushed it. They not only did do it in 2 months, but they just popped the corks in the dams. What ended up happening is that all that sediment that was stored up behind the dams rushed out into the river, in the Klamath River, creating a toxicity in the rivers. The sediment continued to flow down, and the metals are seeping down into the water tables, where those with wells, a lot of them, a lot of homes, now have to have um, they have to pay somebody to test their well water, or else they could be poisoning. They could be poisoned. The clay that was in this sediment is also being washed down in great quantities, and it's filling in any kind of bottom structures that the river has, which we all know if you have salmon in Steelhead, they like to dive into little potholes in the river, and so they're the the bottom of the river now has changed dramatically. Um, all the all and in January 30th, when the report came out, it showed a lot of metallurgies as well as other things that were in the sediment. Nothing bad, okay, and to bad levels, but there was a warning. And when this was released, basically they were just beating the clock. They were given $450 million to do this. $400 million of it would have been used up by dredging the reservoirs and taking it out to the desert. Well, now that the drawdown is complete, what they're doing is just taking out there with backhoes and dump trucks and stuff like that. At Topsy Reservoir, just 3 days ago, the the they weren't taking it out of the reservoir; they were taking it with a big scoop, and what do you call those tractors that scoop, and just digging it out and then tossing it in the water, poisoning the water even more. What's happened with all of this, as you've seen in other videos, is that decomposition of animals are in that too. And now they're just throwing it all into the river. And there's video of this at Topsy, and I'll post the link below. So in order to beat the clock, they opened all the dams. So this report, before the report came out, the end result is that they've poisoned the river. Now, you can talk about the fish kills, but what about all the other stuff that was in the river? Fish aren't the only thing that's in a river. For instance, the crawfish, billions of them destroyed, so the crawfish are gone too. And a lot of animals eat crawfish. I mean, raccoons and otters and all sorts of things, badgers. A lot of things eat crawfish. I like crawfish. The How do I say this? I say this not to bring a sour note to what's happened, but to learn and to keep it from happening in the future. This is the largest project of its kind in history in the world. And basically they wanted to save a buck by doing the drawdown and then bringing in backhoes. But now there's a video showing the backhoe just tossing it in what little river there is there and poisoning it even more. And they wanted to do it rather quickly instead of the initial 2-month drawdown of each reservoir. The Klamath River right now is a cesspool. And below Topsy on down, it is, basically, Topsy on down, it is just, it's just a mess. Because of this, not only is wildlife being destroyed, aquatic life being destroyed, but now we're looking at the water tables, the aquifers being destroyed. This is a very serious issue for everybody. And it could be a life and death issue for some people. I'm just glad I don't live below Topsy. I live right next to Lake River. So all this, and in the end, because of the way it was done, from what I've seen, Chinook and salmon, the likelihood of them coming back is extremely thin right now, and anytime in the near future for sure. It's not going to happen. Another thing, too, is other projects of this kind, much smaller, obviously, since this is the world's largest, introducing farm steelhead and salmon. That's a hybrid fish. They intermix with the natural ones. What ends up happening is their immune systems go down when this happens because the native fish have built a tolerance. Sort of like War of the Worlds. All right, humans, we can handle the common cold, but the aliens come down and they all die. That's kind of the way, a hybrid fish is. They're not used to the environments and haven't built a tolerance for the environment. So what you end up having is diluting the tolerance of the native fish, and you have more diseased fish. And this is just a fact that's happened. Um, Ask anybody who lives locally on these rivers, they realize that more fish are diseased, and there's a lot of it is because of crossbreeding. between native and farm hatchery fish. So one of the solutions was put a hatchery up here. Well, that's not going to fix it. If anything, it could make it worse. Um, this is a very difficult thing to watch right now. Now, what's done is done. Can't do anything about it now except learn. Learn from the mistakes. Unfortunately, this not only is going to cause um, wildlife deaths, but it could cause human deaths. At what point, and this is just my rhetorical question to you, at what point does the deaths outweigh the benefit? At what point does that happen? I guess generals have always asked that question in war. At what point does the deaths outweigh the benefits? If you're the one dying, one. So I guess it is sort of a battleground right now. Except unfortunately, the battleground is the Klamath River that has been poisoned and with great toxicity at the moment because of a rush to do drawdowns before a report came out. Really is a shame. So I'll put a link, because I didn't want to post. I did post her video on my channel. I pulled it off, and I apologize for that. But the full essence of it is too quick a drawdown caused too much sediment going downriver, causing a lot of toxicity into the river itself, which will probably never bounce back unless they do some dredging downriver, which they should have done before the drawdown. But they did it in order to save money, and now they're doing they're scooping up the sediment here in the reservoirs and just dumping it back in the river. It just blows you away when you see it. So I'll put a video of that up here. And anyway, that is basically what the gist of this video is. I know I'm going to get a lot of heat from some people, but before you give me heat, look at the interview below. Just look at the interview below before you start yelling at me for an expert basically saying what he was saying. So give it a shot. Take care, everybody.